Hello and welcome to lesson 3-6. In this lesson, we're going to be multiplying whole numbers with zeros. So we're going to see how do we handle multiplying a whole number that has zeros in it, and does it impact anything that we do differently? Let's go ahead and watch our short video lesson.
How can you multiply with zeros? Think about this question during the lesson. An antique steam train makes one sightseeing tour each day. If every seat is filled for each trip, how many passengers can the train carry for 31 tours? Think about the problem. What operation should you use to find the number of passengers?
Select your answer.
So here we need to figure out the total number of seats times the 31 days. So if we're going to do the same number of seats are getting filled every day for 31 days, we can use repeated addition, which is also a lot easier to do as a multiplication.
Multiply to find the number of passengers. Find 31 times 208. Let's estimate to get an idea of what the product might be. Use the diagram to help you visualize. There are 208 seats on each tour. There are 31 tours. You need to find how many passengers ride in all. How would you estimate 31 times 208? Use rounding to estimate. Round 31 to 30 and round 208 to 200. 30 times 200 equals 6,000. So the estimate of the number of passengers in all is 6,000. Now multiply using partial products. Multiply by the ones and regroup if necessary. 8 ones times 1 equals 8 ones. 0 tens times 1 equals 0 tens. Remember that multiplying with a 0 gives a product of 0. 2 hundreds times 1 equals 2 hundreds. Next, multiply the tens and regroup if necessary. Record a 0 in the ones place of the second partial product. This shows how many ones are in the partial product. 8 ones times 3 tens equals 24 tens. Put the 4 in the tens place of the partial product and regroup the two. 0 tens times 3 tens equals 0. Remember that multiplying with a 0 gives a product of 0. Add the regrouped 2. 2 hundreds times 30 ones equals 6 thousands. What are the partial products? The partial products are 208 and 6,240. Add the partial products to find the product. 208 plus 6,240 equals 6,448. 208 times 31 equals 6,448. How can you tell if the answer is reasonable? The answer is reasonable because it is close to the estimate of 6,000. So the antique steam train can carry 6,448 passengers for 31 tours. Now you know how to multiply with zeros.
Okay, so let's review that real quick. Remember, anytime you multiply a number times 0, it equals 0. So if you have a situation here where you are regrouping, where we had the 3 times the 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and then you're adding those 2 more at the end. Remember, you have to follow the order of operations when you're doing your work. You multiply first, and then you add. Our notes for this lesson, our focus question asked, how can you multiply with zeros? So your standard algorithm doesn't change when there's a zero in one of your factors. You just multiply by the zero, and then you go on to the next digit the same way you normally would. Let's look at our first example. A school district is replacing all of the desks in the classrooms. There are 103 classrooms and 24 desks needed for each classroom. How many desks does the district need to buy? So let's think about what we know. We know there's 103 classrooms. There's 24 desks for each of those classrooms, and we need to find the total for all of them. So we're going to multiply 103 times 24. Now, we'll do the 4 times the 3 gives us the 12. We put the 2 and we carry the 1. 4 times 0 is 0. That 0 plus the 1 more gave us the 1 that we put down over here. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Next, we put in our 0 placeholder and move into our tens place. 2 times 3 is 6, so I record my 6. 2 times 0 is 0, so I record a 0 there. And then 2 times 1 is 2. I add my partial products together and I find my total product of 2,472. Now remember, you must do your work following the order of operations, so following that PEMDAS model. You multiply before you do any adding. So first you have to do the 4 times the 0 and then add the 1. Let's take a look at another example. This one says there are 27 students in Mr. Bolta's class. If each student reads 105 pages, how many pages did they read in all? So I know there are 27 students. I know that each one of them reads 105 pages, and I need to find the total. Now, I'm going to write out my standard algorithm of 105 times 27, and I'm going to write out an estimate to see if my answer is reasonable. So my estimate, I changed my numbers to 100 times 27 instead of 105. 100 times 27 is 2,700 or 2,700. So now let me stack and multiply. 5 times 7 is 35. I record my 5 and carry my 3. 7 times 0 is 0, plus that 3 more gave me the 3 that I put here in the tens place, and then 7 times 1 is 7. Then I put my 0 placeholder because I'm going to start multiplying from the tens place, so my answer needs to begin in the tens place. 2 times 5 is 10. I put my 0, I record, and I carry over my 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus that 1 extra gave me the 1 here, and then 2 times 1 is 2. I add those partial products, and the answer I get is 2,835. So my answer is reasonable because 2,700 of my estimate is close to 2,835. So when we multiply with a 0, even though the number has been added above it from the previous regrouping, you have to multiply first before adding that number. So when we did the 7 times the 0, we had to do 7 times 0 first before we added that 3 extra. When we got to the 2 times 0, we had to do 2 times 0 first before adding that 1 extra from the regrouping. So remember, when you multiply using tens, the tens place digit, your answer must also begin in the tens place. So you put a 0 placeholder here so that your answer can begin in the tens place. All right, let's look at a couple more examples and then jump into our guided practice. Find the products of the following, estimate to check if your answer is reasonable. So here I had 207 times 61. My estimate was 200 times 60, which gave me 12,000. So now I'm going to stack and multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 0 was 0. And then 1 times 2 was 2. Then I put my 0 placeholder and I began with the 6. 6 times 7 is 42. So I put my 2 and I carried my plus 4. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 4 more gave me the 4 that I put here. And then 6 times 2 is 12. So I recorded my full 12. I added those two partial products together and I got a total product of 12,627. This is reasonable because my estimate was 12,000, so my answer makes sense. Next, I had 105 times 24. So my estimate was 100 times 24, which gave me 2,400 or 2,400. So then I started my standard algorithm. 4 times 5 is 20. I recorded my 0 and carried my 2. 4 times 0 is 0, plus those 2 extra that I carried over gave me the 2 that I put down here. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Now, since we moved into our tens place, I put my 0 placeholder and go to the next line. 2 times 5 is 10. Put the 0, and I regrouped my 1. 2 times 0 was 0, plus that 1 more gave me 1. And then 2 times 1 is 2. I added my partial products together and I got an answer of 2,520. This is reasonable because it is close to my estimate of 2,400. All right, let's take a look at our guided practice here. It says in an auditorium, there are 104 rows with 24 seats in each row. How many seats are available? So I need to multiply 104 times 24. Now I'm going to come up with an estimate first, and I'll say 100 times 24, which is 2,400, and then I'll start my standard algorithm. 4 times 4 is 16, so I put my 6 and I carried my 1. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 more gave me the 1 that I put down here. And then 4 times 1 was 4. And so I moved down to the next line, put in my 0 placeholder. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 0 is 0, and then 2 times 1 is 2. I added those partial products and found an answer of 2,496. So there are 2,496 seats available in the auditorium, and this is reasonable because it is close to my estimate. For number 2, why is it important to estimate to check for reasonableness? Well, by estimating, you can see right away if your answer makes sense by solving an easier problem that's close to your original numbers. For numbers 3 through 6, they asked us to solve and to find an estimate to check for reasonableness. This is going to be the same direction that you have during your lesson. So make sure you're doing both. That's the only way you're going to get full points for this assignment. Here I had 205 times 23. I changed it to 200 times 23, which gave me 4,600. Then I started my standard algorithm. 3 times 5 is 15. Put my 5 and carried my 1. 3 times 0 is 0, plus that 1 that I carried gave me the 1 that I put in my answer, and then 3 times 2 is 6. I moved to the next line, put in my 0 placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. I record my 0, carry my other 1. 2 times 0 again is 0, plus 1 more gave me the 1 that I put right here, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Added my partial products and got a total of 4,715, which is reasonable because it's close to my estimate. For number 4, I have 108 times 34. For my estimate, I did 100 times 34. That gave me 3,400. And then when I started my standard algorithm, I did 4 times 8, which gave me 32. So I recorded my 2 and carried my 3. Then 4 times 0 was 0. 0 plus 3 more gave me the 3 that I recorded here. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Next, I jump to the next line, put in my 0 placeholder. 3 times 8 is 24. Put my 4 and carry my 2. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 more gave me the 2 that I recorded. And then 3 times 1 was 3. Added my partial products and got a total of 3,672, which is close to my estimate. Next, I had 410 times 44. My estimate was 400 times 40, which gave me 16,000. And then I started my standard algorithm. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 1 is 4. And then 4 times 4 is 16. I move to the next line, add my 0 placeholder. 4 times 0 is 0 again. 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 times 4 is 16. I added my partial products and got a total of 18,040, which is close to my estimate of 16,000. And my last one is 302 times 30. So my estimate was 300 times 30, which is 9,000. And then I began multiplying. So 0 times all of my digits above it gave me all zeros. Went to my next line, put in my 0 placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. I recorded my 6. 3 times 0 is 0. I recorded my 0. And then 3 times 3 was 9. So I recorded my 9. Adding those partial products, I got a total of 9,060, which was close to my estimate, which tells me that my answer here is reasonable. Please make sure as you're working through this lesson that you show all of your work. Show me what numbers you used and you estimated to check for reasonableness. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.